Today, this breakfast isn't just breakfast. It might be the first McDonald's breakfast you're having at McDonald's again. This lunch might be a weekly tradition you hadn't had in weeks. And this dinner might be the first one you bought for not just you in a while. Whatever this order is for you, McDonald's will be here to take it.
Get more of the chicken you love with a delicious McChicken sandwich for $1. And for an extra buck, add a refreshing Dr. Pepper. Dining rooms are starting to reopen in certain communities at participating McDonald's. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
The world has changed, and Microsoft Teams is there to help us stay connected. Teams is the safe and secure way to chat, meet, call, and collaborate. To learn more, visit Microsoft.com/Teams.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, and drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you, see you, see you.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
As a small business owner, you deserve more. More confidence, more connectivity, more of the tools that help your business thrive. And at Cox Business, you can expect more from us. We don't just have sales reps. We have perfect plan identifiers. People who will work with you to make sure your business gets everything it needs and nothing that it doesn't. Your business deserves more, and that's why you can expect more from Cox Business. Call 800-526-8572 to switch today.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
All right, good evening and welcome into KLRN Radio's Wednesday night extravaganza. I hope that you are holdovers from listening to Rowdy Rick Robinson's America Off the Rails. And I hope you plan to stay. I think there's a red wine tonight. I absolutely have no fucking idea? Oh, by the way, there might be some language in this program. So if that bothers you, hit the fucking door. Anyway, I don't know if there's a red wine tonight. I don't know if there's a Rick and Orty. I don't know if there's a Robinson and Wright.
No, hang on. Let me help you, bro. So it was off the rails. Then it's you. Then it's the ladies of the red wine, and then it'll be me and Orty to finish things off.
Okay, look at that. See, that's great. So there is a red wine, and then there is a Rick and Orty.
Yeah, me and Orty going to be hanging out behind Circle K when all this is done. Just saying.
Lock up your moms. Because otherwise, them hoes is getting tagged. Anyway, all right.
Giggity, let's have sex.
Yeah, but not together, okay? I mean...
Yeah, no, there's the bro code thing. You can't lock eyes during the Devil's Triangle. Just saying.
Yeah, well, I don't share, so that's not happening anyway. Yeah. Anyway, we're off to a hot start tonight. So anyway, do yourself a favor. You're going to want to stay here all night. It's going to be great programming. You just might learn something. And Rick and I were talking about music right before mine hit. And, I took a cue from Rick, and I started thinking to myself, it has been a little while since we changed the song, but it's still so spot on. I mean, if you pull up the lyrics to Are You Ready by Disturbed, you'll see that it is a song about pulling your head out of the media's ass and starting to think for yourself and not listening to all the lies and how the stories get steered. And it preaches to you how to take control of it all and how they're not ready for that. So I can't help. I'm just leaving it. It's perfect. And it's never not relevant. And especially in this day and age, with the pathetic state of the media that we have, it's never irrelevant. Now, speaking of the pathetic state of the media, I have the unpleasant task of starting off tonight's show with reading something to you that most people only gleaned the headlines of the other day when it came out. But we're gonna read the whole thing, and we'll make some commentary along the way. How about that? Because that is how we like to serve the disdain up around here. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it is just burn the roof of your mouth lava hot. So anyway, The Atlantic published this piece about a pandemic amnesty. Now, I think that my position will become clear as we get into this a little more, but a lot of people just didn't read the whole thing, okay? Now, we are going to read the whole thing. So here we go. It starts off. In April 2020, with nothing else to do, my family took an enormous number of hikes. We all wore cloth masks that I had made myself. We had a family hand signal, which the person in the front would use if someone was approaching on the trail, and we needed to put on our masks. Once, when a child got too close to my 4-year-old, then 4-year-old, she says, he yelled at her, "Social distancing!" She has it in bolded caps. She said these precautions were totally misguided. In April of 2020, no one got the coronavirus from passing someone else hiking. They didn't do it in 2021 either. Outdoor transmission was vanishingly rare. Her words. Our cloth masks were made out of old bandanas and wouldn't have done anything anyway. But the thing is, she says, we didn't know. Now let's stop here for a minute. I need to stop because the woman that wrote this article, and shame on me, I didn't put her name in the notes here, but she is a college professor. She didn't know that a cloth mask would do no good. This is basic science. This is not virology classes. This is biology, which would have been a requirement for any damn degree that she got herself into. So the fact that she says she didn't know is bullshit to begin with. But let me continue with her write-up here. She says, I've been reflecting on this lack of knowledge thanks to a class I'm co-teaching at Brown University on COVID. We've spent several lectures reliving the first year of the pandemic, discussing the many important choices we had to make under conditions of tremendous uncertainty. Some of these choices turned out better than others. To take an example close to my own work, there is an emerging, if not universal, consensus that schools in the U.S. were closed for too long. It may be a universal consensus now, but it has been a position of the right from very early on, and the left fought to keep schools closed. So let's not call it maybe universal. The health risks of in-school spread were relatively low, whereas the cost to students' well-being and educational progress were high. Yeah, no kidding. That's been bared out already. The latest figures on learning loss are alarming, she says. But in spring and summer 2020, we had only glimmers of information. Reasonable people who cared about children and teachers, advocated on both sides of the reopening date. No, that's inaccurate. Absolutely inaccurate. Another example, when the vaccines came out, we lacked definitive data on the relative efficacies of the Johnson & Johnson shot versus the mRNA option from Pfizer and Moderna. The mRNA vaccines have won out. Won out. We'll put that one in quotes. But at the time, many people in public health were either neutral or expressed a J&J preference. This misstep wasn't nefarious. It was the result of uncertainty. Okay, let's stop right there again. Because there was never anybody in public health, and I don't know, maybe it was different in some other places, but there was nobody in public health around my area that was pushing the J&J over the mRNA. Fauci wanted you to have the mRNA. Pfizer and Moderna wanted you to have the mRNA. The federal government wanted you to have the mRNA. And they went after Johnson & Johnson, to use her word, nefariously, to make sure that their vaccine was seen as a problem so that you would get the mRNA. Now, obviously, some people intended to mislead and made wildly irresponsible claims. This is so funny, okay? And I want you to listen to this too, because all this she's writing up while she's saying we need to have an amnesty. Some people intended to mislead and made wildly irresponsible claims. Then she says, remember when the public health community had to spend inordinate amounts of time and resources urging Americans not to inject themselves with bleach? No. And nobody ever encouraged them to. Ever. So there was no misleading, wildly irresponsible claim as she's intending to put out here in this article while she's asking for amnesty. Misinformation was and remains a huge problem, she says, but most errors were made by people who were working in earnest for the good of society. Given the amount of uncertainty, almost every position was taken on every topic, and on every topic somebody was eventually proved right and someone else was proved wrong. In some instances, the right people were right for the wrong reasons. In other instances, they had a prescient understanding of the available information. Again, bad-mouthing people who think differently than her as ignorant and ignoring the fact that they were actually right and not wrong. The people who got it right, for whatever reason, may want to gloat. Those who got it wrong, for whatever reason, may feel defensive and retrench into a position that doesn't accord with the facts as she sees them. All of this gloating and defensiveness continues to gobble up a lot of social energy and to drive the culture wars, especially online. These discussions are heated, unpleasant, and ultimately unproductive. In the face of so much uncertainty, getting something right had a hefty element of luck. And similarly, getting something wrong wasn't a moral failing. Oh, but it was. It was. Treating pandemic choices as a scorecard on which some people racked up more points than others is preventing us from moving forward. Okay, let's stop right there, because here's what I know. I know that there were people on the left, and I'm told, by the way, I am told by people who know this author a little better than I know who, I know that she writes for The Atlantic and teaches at Brown, basically. There are people that are much more familiar with her over time, and they say that she was one of the more reasonable people on the left about the pandemic throughout it. So I don't know what the hell that's actually supposed to mean as I'm reading this article that she wrote looking for amnesty, as she still throws his accusatory statements around. But, you want to talk about pandemic choices as a scorecard on which some people racked up more points. Let's talk about how people on the left were saying that the unvaxxed shouldn't be allowed groceries or banking services, or basically we should hold them down and force them to be vaxxed. You can take your amnesty and you can stick it straight up your liberal ass. Hell, there were some people on Twitter talking about how if you couldn't hold them down and force vax them, just stone them. Yeah, put them to death, they said, because they weren't worth saving. They weren't worth being a part of society. But now you want amnesty? Fuck off. But she continues to say, we have to put these fights aside and declare a pandemic amnesty. We can leave out the willful purveyors of actual misinformation while forgiving the hard calls that people had no choice but to make with imperfect knowledge. Los Angeles County closed its beaches in summer of 2020. Ex post facto, this makes no more sense than my family's masked hiking trips. Not only did they close the beaches, they arrested somebody for walking alone on the beach. How stupid is this? At this point, we already knew that UV rays helped extinguish the virus much more rapidly. This person was alone. There was nobody else out there. The cops put themselves in a possible position to contract the infection by going after this person who did nothing wrong. We need to forgive the attacks too, she says, because I thought schools should reopen and argued that kids as a group were not at high risk. I was called a teacher killer and a kid killer. She said it wasn't pleasant, but the feelings were high, and I don't need to dissect and rehash that time for the rest of my days. Well, you don't have to. You are welcome to forgive everybody and go on with your life. She says moving on is crucial now because the pandemic created many problems that we still need to solve. Student test scores have shown historic declines, more so in math than in reading, but more so for students who were disadvantaged at the start. We need to collect data, experiment, and invest. Invest. That's a key word in the left-wing government. That means take more of your money to spend on what they say is important. Is high-dosage tutoring more or less cost-effective than extended school years? Why have some states recovered faster than others? We should focus on questions like these because answering them is how we will help our children recover. Let me tell you something, lady, because you're at Brown University, and since the name of your university obviously matches your nose to your political party, what happens in the schools is a reflection of what's happening at home for the biggest part. Kids that aren't doing well aren't doing real well at home either, usually. Now, there are kids that think they're too cool to do schoolwork, regardless of what their home situation is. And those dumb little peckerheads, they get straightened out eventually. How do I know? Because I was one of them. I was one of them. I was a 7-sport star in high school. I didn't think I had to do shit until somebody righted my ship in a hurry. Now, many people have neglected their health over the past several years. Notably, routine vaccination rates for children, for measles, pertussis, etc., are way down. You think? Rather than debating the role that messaging about COVID vaccines had in this decline, we need to put all our energy into bringing these rates back up. Pediatricians and public school health officials will need to work together on community outreach, and politicians will need to consider school mandates. There already are school mandates for a lot of common vaccines that have decades and decades of research behind them. And you don't have to wonder, is my heart going to just randomly explode one day after I've had this shot? The standard saying is that those who forget history are doomed to repeat it. But dwelling on the mistakes, she says, of history can lead to a repetitive doom loop as well. Let's acknowledge that we made complicated choices in the face of deep uncertainty and then try to work together to build back and move forward. Let me tell you something. Again, you can take your amnesty offer and you can stuff it up your Ivy League ass. There are plenty of people on the left who have absolutely no intention of forgiving anybody on the right that voiced a different opinion than them. There's absolutely nobody on the left that's willing to say that they didn't mean what they said, even though they were spewing stupidity based on misinformation. And you want amnesty. And what it sounds like is you want amnesty for the sake of the kids. You may have wanted schools open, but I guarantee you, if push came to shove, I bet your kids wouldn't have been there. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. Have you guys heard, DeSantis is down in Florida. He's actually taking more steps to ban the transition of minors from one gender to another. And it actually looks like he's following the science. Imagine that. The party of science is now upset with Ron DeSantis for following the science. The science comes from England's National Health Service, which is shocking in its own, given the NHS's normal stance on things. But NHS is taking a more cautious approach to the treatment of minors with gender dysphoria. And they stated in this study that they are starting with the knowledge that gender confusion in children, in most cases, does not persist through adolescence. Doctors, they say, should be open to exploring all developmentally appropriate options with youngsters who believe they are trans, but be mindful that this may be a transient phase. As many as 80% in their study now have, what's the word I'm looking for, regret over their decisions of when they were younger in swapping genders, we shall say, transitioning.
Transient. Hang on a second.
Yeah.
I just have to point this out. Transient transing. That's a new thing.
Transient transing. I like that. Well, we're going to ride that horse for a little bit. We'll see what happens. So in September of 2020, NHS began a review of gender identity services for children and young people. The review is ongoing and led by former president of the Royal College of Pediatrics and Child Health, Dr. Hilary Cass. The chat room is live, by the way, folks. Mike, that's freaking hilarious, and I should have known that it would be something Brad would post. Yeah. Ain't no fucking way the whole Siberian Orchestra is trans. That's great. Paulie. Okay. So the review was prompted by several complex issues, including a significant increase in children referrals. In 2021 through 2022, over 5,000 referrals were sent to the Gender Identity Development Service run by the Tavistock and Portman NHS Foundation Trust. In 2011 through 2012, there were less than 250 referrals. That's a big difference. The review was also prompted by a dramatic change in the case mix of referrals from mostly birth-registered males to now mostly birth-registered females who are claiming a quote-unquote gender incongruence in early teen years. And the increase of children experiencing mental health needs and risky behaviors, which requires careful consideration and needs to be better understood. The ever-changing data have caused a lack of clinical consensus on how to best treat minors experiencing this incongruence and dysphoria without potentially inheriting lifelong consequences. Another problem is that the GIDS is the only provider for gender dysphoria in minors. Dr. Cass published an interim report in February of 2022 that outlined the need to move away from a sole provider like GIDS and instead establish regional services that can better meet the holistic needs of a vulnerable group of children and young people through a new clinical model. Okay, she's talking about resources. The core components of this model, as described by Dr. Cass, are summarized by the NHS. Regional centers should be led by experienced providers of tertiary pediatric care to ensure a focus on child health and development with strong links to mental health services. These will generally be specialist children's hospitals. Where's the hard numbers? Damn it, Seymour. Where's the good info at? Let's see.
Hey, where are the white women at?
Apparently they're all white men now. Just ask Ellen Page, right? Oh, Elliot? Yeah, whatever. Phone home. Let's see. In view of the uncertainty surrounding their use, consideration should be given to the rapid establishment of the necessary research infrastructure to prospectively enroll young people being considered for puberty-blocking drugs into a formal research program and mental health clinical setting with adequate follow-up into adulthood if transitioned over time. Oh, here we go. Of the 1,700 minors that were transitioned by GIDS in 2019 and 2020, 78% already express regret. 78%. Can you imagine? You cut off the parts of your body that identify you as how you were made because you think that that's not you, and then you have regret over it. And these bastards in this country are talking about 4-year-olds should be able to say, fuck you. These are teenagers. This program puts these kids through counseling and through studies and all kinds of stuff before a decision is made whether or not to transition them, which is bullshit anyway, because you can't transition, your DNA. You're either XX or you're XY. If you want to sew your vagina shut, that's fine. Sew it shut. That doesn't make you a dude. If you sew a piece of flesh on there where that's supposed to look like a penis, that doesn't make you a dude. You're still a woman. Same goes for a guy. You lop that penis off, guess what? It don't grow back. You only get one stem on the apple. So, I mean, yeah. I just, for the life of me, you're never going to convince me that kids, and I see plenty of normal kids who are confused enough about life in their hormonal storm that they go through from like 12 to 15, and they just, as they get their driver's license, they're just starting to come out of that high frenzied hormonal storm, and they start looking at like a developing young adult, and they start thinking differently than that little middle school kid, and they start looking forward to things with an adult mind towards even more things in the future beyond that. And it would not shock me one bit if 78% of regret was even a little low, and it wouldn't surprise me if that percentage carried across the board globally. You just don't know. Develop fully. And then if you still insist on it, make that informed decision as an adult and do it. 78%. It's ridiculous. All right, we got to take a break. Rick's going to press a button. You're going to stretch your legs, refill your drinks. I'm going to yawn. And I already changed shirts. I exploded an egg yolk over my chest while I was eating dinner tonight. I had a big fried egg, bacon, and cheese sandwich on grilled sourdough, and I took a big bite, and the yolk just exploded everywhere, all over my Under Armour shirt, so I had to take it off and put Shout all over it and wipe my damn chest off and put a clean shirt on. But anyway, we're all good. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back in about 4.
Hi, I'm Mike. I'm founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, Pop-Up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you. See you, see you.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
As a small business owner, you deserve more. More confidence, more connectivity, more of the tools that help your business thrive. And at Cox Business, you can expect more from us. We don't just have sales reps. We have perfect plan identifiers. People who will work with you to make sure your business gets everything it needs and nothing that it doesn't. Your business deserves more, and that's why you can expect more from Cox Business. Call 800-526-8572 to switch today.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
The world has changed, and Microsoft Teams is there to help us stay connected. Teams is the safe and secure way to chat, meet, call, and collaborate. To learn more, visit Microsoft.com/Teams.
If you prefer real mornings, shouldn't you have a real breakfast? At McDonald's, we get real about breakfast. That's why you can have a savory sausage biscuit with delicious hash browns for only $1.50. It's time to wake up breakfast. Single item at regular price. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
All right, welcome back. Well, that was a quick drawdown. Okay. Anyway, just a reminder, top of the hour, red wine, following the red wine, Rick and Orty for your nightcap. Still got 2 hours and 20 minutes of, you got 2 hours of great entertainment ahead of you. You got to suffer through the next 20 with me. But you can do it. I know you can. I got faith in you. So look, we got to keep this at home. You know, we talked about DeSantis using the British science to further Florida's stance on trans, but National Border Patrol Council, we got to go to the other side of the country here. National Border Patrol Council President Brandon Judd said Monday that Guatemalan President Alejandro, and I don't want to butcher this name right because I don't think it's pronounced like the actor. I think this is Giamatti, but it's spelled like Giamatti. But anyway, the Guatemalan president offered President Biden a chance to deport migrants before they even got into Mexico. And Biden refused the offer. He said that Border Patrol agents aren't even patrolling the southwest border anymore. This is Judd talking, because the administration has reassigned all of them to desk jobs. Judd continued, this administration is clearly set on allowing this to continue. A very disturbing report came out that the president of Guatemala offered Biden a chance to deport these individuals before they even got into Mexico, let alone the United States. And this is the report was aired on Your World with Neil Cavuto. I'm not a big Fox News watcher, but as far as solid news people, Cavuto's pretty decent, I think. The president of Guatemala said, all you have to do is provide us with planes and we'll deport them back, taking the burden off the United States altogether if we would have done that. But this is something that the Biden administration has continued to refuse. All solutions, every single one of them that has been presented to this administration, they continue to refuse to implement. No new policies, no new programs. And what's devastating about what you're seeing with all these people right now It's DPS. It's Texas DPS that are taking these people into custody. It's not Border Patrol. It's not even us out there patrolling the border, Judd said. He said that Senator Tuberville from Alabama called him about the border on Friday, and Tuberville flew down and they drove along for 30 minutes and did not come across one Border Patrol agent while riding along the border. Not one of my fellow agents were out there patrolling because all of us are assigned to doing administrative duties, and that makes this situation a lot worse and a lot more dangerous for everybody. When asked whether the Biden administration will consider a third country option for migrants looking to travel to the United States, Judd said that would be a solution, but again, this administration is not working towards solutions. They would have to negotiate this with a partner country. That's something the Trump administration was doing when it negotiated Remain in Mexico. Then, of course, it was negotiating TPS. They were negotiating several different programs that would allow to control the border, and this organization scrapped everything. And if they were working on something, that would be something that we could hold hope and say, hey, at least they're working towards something, but there is nothing in the works. And that report, again, that just came out with the Guatemalan president just lambasted Biden because he refuses to act. Now, the Biden administration, for their part, they're quick to point out, we have not canceled any of the Trump-era policies. Yeah, that's right, they haven't. They haven't canceled Remain in Mexico. They haven't canceled TPS. The only thing they have canceled is building the wall. They haven't canceled, quote unquote, canceled or laid off Border Patrol agents. They just reassign them to where they can't patrol the border. So technically, he can say he's not doing anything to hamper it, but he is. Now, you know, it's Border Patrol agents are going to continue to have handcuffs rather than bad guys. You know, they're going to be handcuffed to a desk. The bad guys are going to come on through. People are going to continue to get away, and we're not going to feel the effects until the future. That's, you know, we will feel some of the effects sooner than later because the criminals will act out quickly. And we've seen it time and again. Kate Steinle comes to mind, a twice deported illegal immigrant who killed her. You know, we'll have another case in Texas where the dad found the illegal immigrant that raped his daughter and beat him to death. No jury's ever going to convict on that. And they didn't. But Biden just whistles while Rome burns and says, I'm not doing anything different. Because that's what a lying sack of shit does. And anyway, speaking of a lying sack of shit, President Biden was in Florida yesterday. Was it yesterday or was it last week? I don't know. Does it really matter? Anyway, he was in Florida campaigning for Democrat gubernatorial candidate Charlie the Crypt Keeper Crist in the Miami suburb of Hallandale Beach. I know Hallandale Beach. I remember when it used to be an armpit. Apparently there's some money there now. But anyway, while addressing the crowd, President Biden noted that he had spoken with the man who, quote unquote, invented insulin. The man is known as Frederick Banting. And Biden said, and I quote, "How many of you know somebody with diabetes and needs insulin? Do you know how much it costs to make that insulin drug for diabetes? It was invented by a man who did not patent it because he wanted it available for everyone. I spoke with him on this, okay? Now, here's the problem. First of all, nobody invented insulin. Insulin was a discovery. It's made in your body. It's a hormone. The other problem is that Frederick Banting, the man that Biden claimed to speak with about insulin, died on February 20th, 1941, which was 20 months before Biden was born on November 20th of 1942. Why, if there is no partisanship in the media, does nobody call him out on this bullshit? Just once. Just once. Another issue with Biden's speech is that he claimed during the same speech that he went to a historically black college at Delaware State, which is also a lie because he went to the University of Delaware. He was never enrolled at Delaware State. We did a story not too long ago, I think it's been about 3 weeks ago, where we outlined several of Biden's lies and gaffes. The one where he was looking for Jackie Worlowski comes to mind. He was searching for her in the crowd when she had died earlier that year in a car accident. The where's Jackie? Yeah. But still, his misstatement was noted by Republican and Democrat officials, along with a lot of people online and social media. It's not a great look, an unnamed Democrat strategist told The Hill last month. And we all know it only feeds into the criticism of the president and his age. He has to be really careful to not give the other side easy fodder. I got news for you. He needs to not be giving his side easy fodder, because whether he knows it or not, there's a whole cabal behind the scenes that are just dying to put him out to pasture. And I don't think they want Kamala to take his place. So I don't know what they're planning to front. I do know that I saw 2 different Democrat strategists that were pushing real hard for Buttigieg to run again. God help us. I'm a good president. I like choo-choo. Yeah, anyway. Wow, we're not going to get to that. Okay, I'm going to hold that for next week because that is important and we should have gotten to that tonight. But anyway, it's a little bit on the long side, but it's important that we do it. Where did I draw the line? Okay. So, yeah, we do like to end the show on a happy note. So, instead of doing the depressing story, I'll hold the depressing story for next week, and we'll do the happy story now to end the show on.
Now time for G's happy ending, trademark pending.
Yes, G's trademark happy ending. That's right. Guaranteed happy ending. I love it. Picture this. You and your spouse on your honeymoon in Europe. You're taking a lovely stroll, admiring the architecture. The sun's going down. The street lights are coming on. It's getting a little dark. And you see a burning building. And your first instinct is to run into the burning smoke and the building. And you end up in a room with panicking nurses and 20 sleeping infants, and nobody speaks English. That was the situation that Rhode Island honeymooners David Squilante and Doran Smith found themselves in last month in Barcelona. The newlywed 38-year-olds were on their way to tour a park when they saw a group of women standing around panicking next to a doorway, out of which was wafting thick smoke. I saw a flame coming out of the doorway next to the door that these women had come out of, Smith said. So I said, "Oh my God, there's a fire." I bet that's a smart thing to say when you see a flame. I joke because these people are actually frickin' flippin' heroes. Who knows what possessed the non-Spanish speaking honeymooners to run inside the burning building? Who knows what possessed the non-Spanish speaking honeymooners to go to Spain? But I'm glad they did, and I'm sure that there are a lot of other people that are too. They ran inside. There was nothing on the exterior that hinted at the precious cargo within. They could have just been running into a normal apartment building. They went in all the same, and though neither Squilante nor Smith understood what was probably being explained to them, they found themselves communicating in a universal language before long. They entered a room that had not caught fire yet and realized they were in a nursery of all places. Instinct took over, Squilante said. I found myself looking at 15 to 20 babies sleeping, and immediately just lined up everyone, and we started grabbing them, putting them into the crib. It was probably like 10 minutes, but it seemed like an instant. And he said the crazy thing is it turned out to be okay, and everyone was out safely, and the pair continued with their honeymoon. And that's according to an NBC affiliate. They went right onto the park to take the tour they had planned. Unreal. Squilante now says that he is exploring the possibilities of becoming a volunteer firefighter in their hometown of Bristol. I don't know where Bristol, Rhode Island is, but I would rest a little easier knowing that there's somebody with that kind of mentality that's willing to charge a burning building, knowing nothing about what's going on or what's inside of it, to save somebody. Folks, those are honest-to-goodness heroes. We throw that word around a lot in this country, but these people earned it. And that is your guaranteed happy ending trademark at the end of my show. And that is your show. If you like it, tell your friends. If your friends like it, you need new ones. But they and you are welcome here with me on KLRN Radio, America's podcast network, home of the Conservative Curmudgeon Show. I'm your host, The Grouch. Peace.
I hate this place. Nothing works here. The medications don't work. I've been here for 7 years.
Here's to us, here's to love, all the times that we messed up. Here's to you, feel the grass, 'cause the last few nights have kicked my ass. If they give you hell, tell them go fuck themselves.